So as you recall from the last video, we had a Gettysburg-sized type battle, and I think now's a good kind of time to illustrate the effects that such a battle had on the Confederacy. I think it's pretty accurately reflected. So first off, if you look at the replacements, I mean, those are like astronomical numbers. I mean, on the line infantry, we're at 850. Our elite infantry, we're at 127, which is just huge considering how expensive, an elite unit is. It's $33,000 and 10 conscripts just for one. Multiply that by 127. And then our line infantry is much cheaper, 27,000. And then you have your cavalry with 245. So, pretty astronomical numbers for us. However, similar to the end of, after Gettysburg, Lee's army was beaten up, but it wasn't by any means destroyed or put in a situation where it couldn't put on a robust defense or offensive still. There's a reason why it took Grant, well over a year to push from essentially where McDowell is right now down to, Petersburg, and then ultimately down to Appomattox. We have Stewart, he's still, fully fixed. He wasn't hit at all. But I was able to rebuild Jackson's corps pretty quickly with some of the units I had laying around. So Forrest is still a little hurt, but he's back to almost full strength. Same thing with Hood, and same thing with AP Hill. And then Smith, I actually salvaged. Basically, what I did was I took a division from his corps and along with a couple other units, threw stuff together and rebuilt Jackson's corps. But now he still has 2 divisions. Claiborne's got 3, and then Longstreet has 3. So we're still in pretty good shape. Obviously, the Battle of Gettysburg, these divisions were beat up more, in realistic terms more. But I do think it's a good illustration that even after a major battle like that, the Army of Northern Virginia still had a lot of fight left in them, and that's certainly the case here for us. Is that even though we lost 20,000 troops, we have we can field an 80,000 man army still. So he did jump across the river here at Fredericksburg, so hopefully that was a mistake. I'm gonna move on him pretty aggressively. I'm gonna move 2 corps on him, Jackson and Longstreet. Also, Fredericksburg here is connected to Culpeper, where my other 2 corps are at. So if I'm able to engage him here at Fredericksburg, hopefully my other corps will move in to the sound of the guns and support. He is currently isolated off from the rest of his army, so unless he moves a corps down here or the bulk of his forces down here to support him, he's going to be pretty outnumbered. So hopefully we can hit him hard and fast and knock him out. I am moving Evans along with these tattered, battered, whatever you want to call it, brigades. These are the ones that need to be basically put in the replacement pool. So I'm going to move them down to Richmond, put them green, and then hopefully get them rebuilt pretty quick. He does have a little cavalry unit down here. So I'm going to move some forces down there just to kind of get at him too. So we'll see. I'm thinking of moving Stewart to hit him. There was a little skirmish here. That's the cavalry unit that he has right here. Or sorry, that's Gilbert. Never mind. So he's got 30,000 troops right there. But I have 80, so hopefully I can hit him. Over in the west, Lyons is still stuck here in the foresty, mountainous, harsh weathers of Tennessee. And hopefully he stays there, rots, and dies. I kind of contemplated attacking him, but I'm like, it'll take me... It is technically on the rail line, but do I really want to put my forces in harsh weather as well? And if he's just going to kind of sit there and rot, then great. I've now positioned myself behind this river. I suspect he'll move down, on the other side of the river here. And then I'll have a nice little triad here between my three stacks supporting each other. I'm going to kind of slowly restructure these because it looks like he's starting to make a move towards Memphis over here at Fort Donelson. I would suspect that would be his next move. So if he does in fact do that, then I'm going to restructure things and give Johnston more units to try and defend against it. So I'm going to pull out of Fort Donelson, and then I'm going to put Johnston here at Fort Henry to try and obstruct his ability to move across the river using the rail line. Now he might be able to jump across another point down here, but at least on the rail line he won't be able to do it. And then bring in another corps to support Johnston. I'm going to hold on to Paducah for now, but it's getting to the point where it probably doesn't make sense much longer to hold it, especially if he takes Fort Donelson and then crosses over. If he crosses over, you know, the whole point of holding Paducah is kind of null and void. Yeah, he can, you know, still kind of stops his fleet from coming down, but, you know, once he's across the river, if he has a large enough force, he can just move up and take Paducah anyways. So I might pull out of there sooner than later to make sure that my line of retreat isn't cut off. Now over here, so I've been able to train up a fair amount of troops. So these guys are the guys I'm going to move back to Taylor once the stuff I'm training. But I need to make sure I don't lose Corinth, so I'm going to move him there to kind of hold temporarily Corinth until I can restructure things. Because he has this cavalry unit here behind me, and he's kind of, I was kind of out of position to deal with it. So I need to make sure that I don't lose any supply depots or anything. So I'm going to move this guy here. I'm going to move him. Where am I moving him? I'm going to move him somewhere. But here's what I have under Taylor. Just training up these guys. You know, I can train up 2 of these per turn. So these will be conscripts next turn, and they'll be line infantry the turn after that. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but when you recruit these militia units, they come as ones, and you can take 2 of them and combine them together into a 2-stack, and that's far more superior and effective, because the 1 regiment elements, that's 1 regiment card, I guess you'd say, they get destroyed a lot easier than the 2s. So if you have the 2s together, they're less likely to get destroyed in battle, and so that's why I like to combine them. Alright, and then I did that, and then we're still holding Little Rock. He's still over here in western Arkansas, and then I'm going to move a bunch of forces here. Well, I don't say a bunch of forces, but enough to kind of hit him here. If he doesn't have a full stack, if it's only like maybe half or less than half, I may try and hit him and just sweep him out of there. But at minimum, I just want to kind of get near him, see what he has, and then decide from there. Otherwise, as you can see, I mean, Texas is such a large landmass. I just don't have the forces to cover all of this. So what I may just do is hunker down at Houston and Austin. So this is Houston down here in Austin, and just hold on to these. And then if he decides he wants to push south, he can do so. But he himself will be spread out if he tries to take all of this. And the important locations for me, Houston and Austin, will be defended and entrenched. Okay, doing the rail pull. I haven't printed money. I'm trying to avoid doing that. Our inflation's 9%, which isn't bad for the CSA. But we are hurting for money for sure. Okay, and then I want to say too, the one of the things that I just like to keep highlighting. Okay, so we smuggled the cotton bales out for 50, right? And at the beginning of the game, if you ended up doing the cotton embargo, this one right here, yeah, it helps with foreign intervention. But I honestly have never seen a game where there's been foreign intervention, or if there has, it came so late in the game that it was kind of pointless. Like my CSA playthrough against the AI, I mean, I was dominating almost that entire game, and I don't think it ever got close to foreign intervention. So I just think burning this card is worthless. And I don't want to say worthless, okay, but I think the cost-benefit analysis is such that, you keep getting this event here where you get this $50 fires randomly throughout the game, and it seems to me that this is more beneficial than blowing that card and then not getting foreign intervention. So, and then the other thing I like to show is just from time to time to show you, as a way of illustration, sometimes I can't find stuff. I just want to show you the amount of cash that our pirates are bringing in. It doesn't look like a lot per turn, but it certainly adds up throughout the course of the game. So if you can keep your brigs alive, like I've been able to, then you can bring in, I'm not seeing it, so I don't want to waste too much more of your time, but you can bring in like 5 cash or so per turn. And it adds up, times it by 12, and then times that by, another 3 or whatever, and it's pretty beneficial. So I'll show you next turn. It'll be normally it's on this one, so I don't know why it didn't pop up here. And I will simulate the turn and be right back. Okay, so we did have a battle at Fredericksburg. I'm going to hit that one right now. See if I can't make this part of the video a little bit quicker. These are the cavalry that he had that I was pointing out a little bit earlier. He just attacked those guys, so I'm going to go after him with Stuart, which I did, and then destroyed him. But, oh, that's the next battle, which I'll cover in a moment. That's not too much, but okay, so here we had 80,000 troops. This is our full army, so basically all of our corps were able to move to the sound of guns. He was able to move down, it looks like, another corps to support. So we had 80,600 against 61,600. Unfortunately, he was able to retreat after 3 hours of battle, so I wasn't able to inflict the sort of casualties I was hoping for. But we were able to inflict 5,000 more than he did to us, so, I mean, there's that. But really, I needed to inflict a lot more than that, considering the situation he was in and the amount of troops that he has in the army of the Potomac. So, but it is what it is. I'm not going to really go through this in too much detail because it's pretty straightforward. Basically, I hit him the first hour, which kind of, even keeled, and then after that, it rapidly fell out of control for him in terms of the numbers. So then, hour 3 is when he got away. I want to say it. So let's see. Yeah, see, we didn't even inflict very many casualties in hour 3. It was all in hour 2. And I know that cavalry has an impact on that. I've never really been able to quite figure out how to maximize casualties in the last hour. Unless you get into the assault phase. The assault phase makes sense to me, but we didn't get to the assault phase here. It's only hour 3. So, but yep. So now I am at Fredericksburg. He's back across. As you can see, he's got the 2 corps. So, which actually, we got more than 2 corps. Gilbert, Crittenden, and Whipple. Yeah, so we got 4 corps. So he didn't have 4 corps worth of troops here. So it looks like maybe a couple of the corps either didn't make it over in time for the battle or something. I would have wanted him to. I'd have been happy to do that. But kind of vacated the Shenandoah here because I just don't have the troops to hold it. And then I'm going to move Mosby back over to kind of protect my rail line and kind of have him. I'm not sure what this guy's doing. I don't know if he's moving down on the rail line or whatever, but I'm going to come down and hit him if he does. We are in late December 63. What I was trying to show last turn that I couldn't find, really annoying, was the amount of money that we were able to smuggle in. Oh, by the way, we got 1,300 rifles and 2,400 prisoners from that battle as well. So we actually inflicted a good number of casualties, and we got what? About 10,500 was the total, and we got 4 national morale from that, which is nice. So we're at 135 on national morale. But I suspect our national morale is going to kind of go down over time because it's going to be winter and there's just not going to be a whole lot of battles going on. I'm just looking through here really quick to see if there's anything of note. Hood can be promoted. I may potentially take him up on that. Possibly. Here we go. So 12 money and 4 war supply this turn from our blockade. We're getting that pretty much about every turn, between like 10 and 12. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 brigs here in the blockade. So it's a good illustration of how if you can keep these brigs alive, they can bring in a decent amount of cash throughout the year. That's what 100, maybe 120, 150 bucks per year. And obviously that goes a long way when you consider how hard up for cash we are. Okay, I built the fort down here. I can't remember if I had highlighted this. I'm going to do that now. This is Atlanta, right up here. And if I lose Richmond and Atlanta, I lose the game. I could see a scenario in 64, 65 where he takes a corps or even an army and goes up the river here and then just beds down and then makes a move on Atlanta. So putting this fort here and then putting what will eventually be a full division, hopefully, will we'll create a zone of control where he can't get past without taking out that fort. So that'll give him the time to reposition and position myself in a way that'll obstruct his access to Atlanta. I'm going to use the hills here, hills. And I want to say there's some forest too as well. Maybe just hills up here. Yeah, there's forest. Probably wouldn't go down there, but I would definitely start with the hills here. And that's where my first line of defense for Atlanta. I'm also going to probably start putting rebels and so forth along this rail line to start digging in entrenchment lines. And then probably put a fort right here behind the river. That way, if Chattanooga falls, he's got a straight line down to Atlanta. But I'll hopefully be dug in all along this rail line, and then also have a fort behind this river that'll slow him down as well. He did move down like I anticipated to kind of go on the other side of this river, so that's fine. I'm just going to create a nice little defense here. I am restructuring the Army of the Mississippi, though, and sending troops over to Johnston because, as you can see here, under Meade, he has an 8,000 power force, so he's very clearly, I think, anticipating a move on Memphis and Corinth, which is down here. So I'm gonna put Johnston here at Fort Henry. Probably. I moved him back. I'm gonna move him back down. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. That's right. So I think that he's going to jump across either here down this rail line or here where I don't have any rail line. I just don't see him, going after me full-on attack across the river, even though there's a rail line here. So if he does that, I'll be a little out of position because Corinth and Memphis will be open to him kind of moving in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull back behind this river line here and put Johnston here, and then my other corps probably right here on this rail line. And in that way, it obstructs his ability to basically kind of outflank me. That's what I'm kind of thinking of doing. The alternative is staying on this rail line, but I'm going to kind of see what he's going to do here. I don't even know if he's going to... If he doesn't take Fort Donelson, that changes things a little bit for me. Because I think in terms of supply lines and stuff, it makes it easier for me to get at him. Because there is a rail line right here, so I can move pretty rapidly on him. So we'll see. But I am going to burn Paducah and get out of there. I think... With that size of a force right there, it doesn't make sense to kind of hold on. He did attack me across over here, but that's fine. I really only took this area so that I could build, Missouri troops right here. So that's fine. You can take that. And then moving a bunch of stuff to Memphis, basically stuff that I can train up with Taylor. Just to highlight, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's very helpful to have an HQ unit attached to Taylor. Because as you bring in these volunteers and stuff to get trained up, they're also getting the bonus, getting the benefit of experience from this HQ unit. So I recommend if you have a spare HQ support unit, even if you don't really have a spare one, honestly, I would do it because you're always going to be having new troops coming in under Taylor to train them up. So they're probably going to be here 3 or 4 turns before they're ready to go to the front. So that's 3 or 4 turns where they're getting bonus XP from your HQ support unit. Okay, and then as far as the Far West is concerned, not a whole lot to report. I'm going to move forward with early Van Dorn. One, hoping that his stack is pretty small, that I can get a victory here, get him promoted. But also, two, just to kind of see what he has there, and then go from there. I don't think there's really anything else to report. We are hurting on the replacements, as you can see. we did cut this down a little bit. It's now down to 784 instead of 950. But that's a big number to bring down over time. Our elites are really high. It's only gone down, I think, like 10. And then our cavalry is hurting too. So January that should change because we'll have a lot of money, and then we can kind of spend it all getting our replacements up. And I say with that, I don't think there's anything else that I need to highlight. Probably what I'll do is a little bit of a deep dive in 64, January 64, just to give you an overall illustration of the front as it appears in 64, casualty numbers, overall disposition of troops, that sort of thing. So, all right, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.